Rated mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised. Broadcasting from the Big Peach of Atlanta, Georgia. A show unfiltered, unscripted, raw. The Patriot Angle Podcast. Patriot Unfiltered Raw.
Alrighty, guys, welcome to Unfiltered Stir Up Wednesday. We are live on Twitch and YouTube, guys. Momentarily, we will be having our guest Chris out of Marietta, Georgia, joining us here momentarily. We'll be calling him momentarily here on the show of shows. With that being said, guys, welcome to today's show. Welcome, guys. Got a lot to talk about. On the show of shows, guys. Welcome to the Patriot Angle Podcast. Welcome. How you doing, Chris? Welcome to the show, buddy. Hey, Chris. How you doing, buddy? Welcome to today's show. Sorry we had a little glitches there in the show, but hey, we're glad to have you back. It's been a hot minute since we've had you on the show, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. This is great.
Yeah. Anyways, I wanted to get into, some supply chain issues on the show. I don't know if you're experiencing that firsthand, whatever you're doing, but are you there, Chris?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're all.
Yeah. Heard a little echoing on my end. Maybe it's just the Wi-Fi or what, but I wanted to get into some supply chain issues. It's basically facing the country, with bottlenecking and delays of trucks and this and that. Are you experiencing that in any way or fashion, of what you do for a living, or?
Yes, unfortunately we are. In the property management industry, working on air conditioning and plumbing, electrical issues, I'm having very difficult times getting just motors for air conditioning system, boards. Prices are going up through the roof. They are charging more than they should, obviously. And it's very discouraging. It's very sad that we're having this type of limited shortage. And one of the greatest or the greatest country in the world. It's amazing that we're having this type of discouragement that we can't even get these parts that we need, the most simplest parts that we need. And it's very frustrating. I had one guy replacing an air conditioning system, said it would take him 6 weeks to 12 weeks to get the part, just to get the unit itself. And I thought, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if it, and luckily this person were replacing it, they don't need it. Can you imagine if you needed the air conditioning or the heater at this time? You'd be out of luck for that long a time.
Yeah, depending on where you're getting it from, if you're getting it from, anywhere, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, I mean, shit, we might, it just depends on where it's coming from, there's a lot of delays, we've seen with the U.S. Freedom Truckers Convoy kind of breaking through the states little by little. I mean, they're getting fed up, Chris, I don't blame them, with the forced vaccines. Some of these companies are still forcing it down people's throats, either get the jab or, face termination. It's a lot of hell going on in the country today. A lot.
Correct. And speaking of that, I had a tenant, I'm not going to say their name to protect them, but
yeah,
in order to go into their space, I had to have proof that I had the vaccine. And it's just very discouraging that this tenant, not a medical tenant, not a tenant of any medical history, but this particular tenant would not want me to go inside their suite to work on an air conditioning or a light or plumbing issue if I did not have, or if I have whatever their proper requirements are. I think that's a little ridiculous, and I don't know why they should have my information anyway. I joked with my manager. I said, what about the flu shot? Did they have the flu shot? Did they have the pneumonia shot? I was joking with them because most likely I'd die more from the flu than, than COVID anyway. It's ridiculous.
I hear you. You know, and I mean, I see that too. You know, here and there, you know, especially, you know, if I'm going, you know, inside of Atlanta, which is still liberal as hell, you know, and, you know, some of these people are like, do you have your mask? I was like, come on, you know, enough with the mask crap,
right.
You know. I mean, I think we're all boys and, you know, big girls and big boys, and we know how to wash our hands and stay
Correct.
6 feet away when somebody looks, you know, terminally ill or sick. I'm just getting tired of hearing about the mask issue. You know, I mean, it's just.
I completely agree. You're right. Everybody, let's use smoking as an example. Everybody knows smoking is harmful for you, but you have a right to go and smoke 12 packs of cigarettes all you want. It's your life, it's your body. If I want to go and get 10 Big Macs and eat them all at one time, I'm risking heart disease, health issues, anything of that nature.
Yeah.
We are grown up. We're adults. We don't need the government to come and tell us, hey, you need your little sticker, you need your little shot. This is what's great about freedom. It's freedom. It's dangerous, meaning you have a risk. We can go parachuting. We have a risk of that parachute not opening. But we want the thrill, the excitement. We don't need Big Brother or the government coming down and say, oh, we need these regulations. We don't need OSHA. I have to deal with OSHA now, getting involved with OSHA, with the jabs, with the vaccine spots. And that's getting a little bit too redundant and too ridiculous.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
too much control.
Oh, yeah. It's literally through the roof, you know, especially OSHA becoming more involved with a lot of industries today, you know, surrounding COVID and this and that, you know, where they pretty much made COVID a certain requirement, you know, with OSHA. Right. You know, it's terrible.
Correct. And I don't know why we need so many organizations getting involved in this. And obviously it's a money issue and power issue.
Oh, sure.
But it's getting, like you say, it's getting a little bit ridiculous and redundant, and the fear mongering and the misleading information. It's getting a little bit overbearing. You got to think, come on, let's just live our day. Most average citizen just wants to go to work, do their little 8 hours, and go home and relax. They don't want to have to keep getting bogged down with more information, but more problems. Oh, you need this, you need your mask, you need your shot. The average person wants to be left alone and just live their life until they die.
Yeah.
But now with so much regulations coming on to us, it's getting far ridiculous. It's getting out of control. We're getting too much into a communist, socialist, fascist type country, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah. You know, we had you on the show last time when we kind of got into your expertise. I mean, you are, you're in the maintenance, right? The property maintenance industry. And correct. I mean, I'm sure you see a lot more crap now, you know, especially through COVID and everything else, more than you used to, right? Prior to COVID?
Correct. And it's sad to see these buildings, the tenants still paying their rent, but the lights are out. They're not. Well, I mean, and it's understandable. Why not have my employees work from home, and why pay for this lease for 10,000 or 1,000 square feet or 10,000 square feet or a whole floor? Why do I need all that? Yeah. But it's sad when I walk the elevator, or walk down the stairs, or ride the elevators. You get outside and you got the tenant's name, but the lights are all dark, and tenants saying, "Yeah, we're going to try to come back in March," or "No, we might come back in May." Yeah. We might come back in August. I mean, it's really sad, and people are missing the human interaction. People need human interaction. We just can't be in our caves all day, just being afraid to go out because someone might sneeze over there. You know, we need to be able to have interaction. We need to be able to be productive.
Oh,
we
sure.
need to have that camaraderie with each other.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm always in and out of Atlanta, Georgia. And I can tell you right now, Chris, I see more for sale or for rent signs out than anything. And, you know, a lot of people are saying, you know, even I've happened to know a couple of personal friends of mine that are in the property management business, whether they're a property manager, you know, a homeowner or anything in that nature. They're telling me, you know, Michael, we can't even get just an average tenant. Some of these for sale signs are up longer than ever, and it all has to do with the inflation of what's going on in this country.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct. And it's sad that we're going to see by 2024, we're going to see a hamburger at $7, $7.25, and that's terrible.
Yeah.
Inflation is causing so much issues. Inflation is causing more issues. Again, perfect example in the property management industry, on the commercial side. Tenants have to pay for lights, electricity, utilities, everything. And yet, if that's all going up, it's going up. Now the rent's going up, the maintenance costs are going up, having people on site's going up. It's costing more and more. It's sad. It's sad to see it. It's almost sad to see Atlanta turning into the Walking Dead. We're almost seeing. I'm not saying it's that way now.
Yeah.
You drive it 285 and 75, and you think, wow, where is everybody? Now everybody's out here. But it is seeming to be sad where people say, I don't need this much square feet anymore. I don't want that much square feet. I can reduce down, or I can just.
All right, guys, you're hearing live here from Chris, which is a property maintenance employee out of Marietta, Georgia, basically just spitting politics here and viewpoints, guys. We'll be back more with Chris right after these words. Don't go anywhere. Hey guys, this episode today is brought to you by our good friends here on the podcast of Restream. What is Restream? It is an online browser, digital studio-based type of software. Whether you're out there looking for something more reliable, more affordable, Restream has it, guys, with their graphic concepts, their background music. Just about everything you're looking for is on the Restream network. It is a super affordable, non-contract type of concept. They have several plans to choose from. Like I said, we use them here on the podcast. They are magical, guys. I can't say much more about this company. Restream Network, guys, also provides you live streaming for your content or your material. Check them out today, guys. Restream. All right, guys, we're back here on the show here. Joining us today is one of our returning guests that we've had on the show a few times already, Chris out of Marietta, Georgia, which happens to be a property maintenance employee, basically talking viewpoints on his industry, what he's seeing throughout the pandemic of COVID, more restrictions within the industry, and his viewpoints. Let's get back into the conversation, guys.
Rent a space for a week or a month and have my employees there.
Yeah.
It almost seems that the building industry, the skyline, and the skylines are beautiful. I'm not a city person, but I like going down to the city. It's beautiful, great architecture, but it's almost sad to see all that going away, because why use it now? Why do I need it?
We talked about on the last show I had you on with all of the buildings. Mainly all these contractors, architects, the new designs are not, 1, 2, 3, 4 stories. They're all going straight up now, Chris.
Correct.
All the buildings are going straight up because Atlanta is literally running out of space. They're building straight up. They have to. They don't have a choice. And through all this inflation and all these price gouging, through everything, I'm still surprised. I'm like, you know what? With all this inflation we have, the mayor, the governor, Brian Kemp, he must have a lot of faith, in his big city in Georgia, in Atlanta. He must have a lot of faith of having people, thinking, we'll get people to occupy these buildings. We'll get people to rent, the homeowners and property management and leasing offices. We'll get people to rent this and this and that. He must have a lot of faith. I don't know. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not much of a fan of Kemp anymore. He's starting to become a little bit more liberal to me, and it seemed like he's kowtowing and backing away from certain liberal politics or Democrats. I mean, he's starting. I mean, you could get me on a rant on a whole other subject about him. But yeah, I don't think. I mean, I think he tried. Like, for example, when we opened before. I mean, technically, we opened before a majority of the country opened. Even Donald Trump didn't really like that Georgia was opening everything up. But that was a good thing. We should have never locked down in the first place. That's the thing.
Well, that's one of the. Hold on, I'll stop you right there. That's one of the reasons why we're facing all the inflation that we're facing. Yes, it has a lot to do with the stimulus checks that were basically delivered throughout last year and a little bit of earlier this year in January. But I mean, you know, the stimulus checks, the lockdowns. That's what our country. I mean, we're facing the aftermath of the destruction, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Correct. So these bureaucrats, these people in Washington and all that, these talking heads that say, oh, you need to shut 15-day curve. That was it. The 15-day curve turned to 3, 6, almost a year.
Yeah, right.
It never fixed anything. Yeah. And everybody supposedly staying home. COVID went up. It's ridiculous. But I hope I'm not going back and forth on topic. But speaking of also. I remember having a plumbing issue, and I called the plumber. I called 2 or 3 different plumbers that we have on site, and they said, we're having such a hard time getting technicians, we can't even get there. We can't guarantee when to be there at XY time. And I mean, it's sad that even like you're saying, with people staying home, the stimulus, even these contractors can't even get the techs, or these younger generations want to learn hands-on. They don't want to learn plumbing or electricity or HVAC or anything like that. That seem like these are dying businesses, which is sad. And eventually, plumbers are going to make more, and probably do, more than doctors and lawyers and all that, because it's going to be rare to find these trades and these people. But it's sad about that.
Yeah, sure. We just got a comment coming in on our blog on the website, because as I do this live, through the Restream network, and then of course on Twitch and YouTube, we just got a comment from the blog from Nestor of South Dakota saying, you should be lucky, Chris, that you do get somewhat of an answer from plumbers, in the property maintenance industry. He says, I've been facing 3.5 weeks of wait time and haven't even heard a damn answer yet.
That's terrible. That's terrible. What a terrible thing. I hate that he has to deal with that. I hate that no one should ever have to deal with that. Could you imagine if even at your own home, if your toilet's clogged up and you can't even get an answer for 3 weeks? That's awful. That is terrible.
Yeah. Somewhat crazy. So, I mean, we're talking about a lot of different key issues. We're talking about the property maintenance part of the industry. We're talking about supply chain crisis facing just about every type of industry that there is, right? Retail, food. I mean, even in your industry, you need to get supplies, And, I mean, do you think that this delay is going to get worse, within the future, or is it going to be a little bit better, or this, and like, what's your insight on that?
My fear is going to get worse, especially the thing that we need, especially over in the Ukraine and Russia area. They give a lot of fertilizer even to the America. We import a lot of fertilizer, and I think it's going to get a lot worse, especially in that area. If God forbid, if China goes and takes over Taiwan has one of the largest manufacturing of chips, and we know almost everything now has a chip in it, even from an air conditioner, car, anything, TV. If God forbid China were to take over Taiwan, we would be at China's beckon to have, say, hey, can you give us these chips? And Taiwan produces one of the largest companies. I can't remember who it is, but in Taiwan they manufacture these chips, motherboards, and it's just terrible. If China gets a hold of that, we're at their mercy, because that would be we would be at a downfall. I mean, for example, I got a chiller. A chiller obviously is a big air conditioner system for a building. I have one building. I have 6-story buildings. Just to get the board, just to get the motherboard, they said it would take almost a month or 2 months just to get, because it can't get it. I was also reading an article about this is the craziest thing. A ship caught on fire about 3 weeks ago.
A what? I'm sorry, a what? Caught on fire?
A ship, a cargo ship.
Oh, wow, okay.
Caught on fire. And all these luxury cars were in there, and they sank. And the reason they believe it caught on fire because the lithium. Everybody wants to go green with these cars.
Oh,
so
yeah, it's
the
terrible.
lithium battery caused a fire. It was going to Rhode Island. This cargo ship was, and about 3 weeks ago it was on the news, and all these cars are now sank at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean now. It's terrible. You can't. That's madness.
I'm telling you, yeah, the cargo ship crisis. Everybody thought it kind of went away, and it's still there. With the Biden administration, I don't know, man. It's just like I don't think they have their negotiations intact. With what they're doing. I don't think Joe Biden literally knows, what the fuck he's doing. You know what I mean?
I agree, and it's very sad that we have a president. It's sad that we have a president that seems like he has dementia or forms of something, losing his mind. It's very sad. I'm sure he's taking a nap now, or it's time to go to sleep about this time, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's 6:30 on the Eastern Coast, right? So Joe Biden, actually, believe it or not, Joe Biden is actually in Europe as we speak for the NATO conference thing or whatever, the NATO something. I think it's something to do with NATO.
NATO summit.
Yeah, the summit. Yeah, you're right. You're correct on that. He's talking about the summit there in NATO and trying to negotiate. We'll see if his negotiation skills come into play there.
Yeah, it's terrible that we have to rely on NATO to try to negotiate with Russia when we had a former president who was had a backbone and he had, look at the respect he got from North Korea, Kim Jong. I never in my wildest dream thought we'd ever have respect with Kim Jong Il or Kim Jong. Yeah, and now look at how weak our country become just in a year.
Look the destruction he's caused, Biden. I mean, he's got our economy literally down the toilet bowl. He's got her basically saying, "Oh, the jobs are coming back and this and that." No, Joe. People are going back to their jobs that you had locked down for 6+ months. You know what I mean? So,
and they're not counting people that have stopped looking. There are people that stop looking or not even looking. They stop counting that.
Yeah, no one wants to work anymore, too. No one. Everybody wants a payout. They want a bailout from the federal government. They want the stimulus, unemployment checks. They want this. They want that. No one wants to work. We're literally suffering a nationwide labor shortage, and that's not funny when as the most powerful country in the world faces a crisis like that. That's bad.
Yeah, it almost seems that we're almost be turning into a Venezuela or Mexico eventually.
We're just about there, literally just about there. We touched on that topic just the other day, this past actually last week, believe it or not. Figuring that this whole month is going by quick. Last week we touched on that on Tuesday Madness with Jimmy and PJ of Archangel Protective Intelligence. He got into a lot of detail, with NATO and Russia and this just about everything. That's literally every crisis that we're facing right now as a nation. Really damn good show, but. Yeah. It's bad. It's bad, Chris. That the stuff we're going through as a nation. Real bad stuff.
It's sad, and I believe that most people have good hearts, and most people want to see everybody prosper. Of course, you got your people who are out there who are vengeful and hate people succeeding, but I think most people want other people to succeed, and I think that's what's great about America. We want to see each other grow. That's what makes us so more unique. We have more compassion. We have more where we donate to charities or give our time, and we want to help elevate people, even the people coming up from below. We want to teach them plumbing skills or electrical skills, because that we know that will help out in not only yourself knowing that skill, but it also help if you need to go fix someone's house or a commercial office. You can have that skill to go and make that person happy and take care of it. That's what's unique. Instead of having the government come and say, hey, Mr. Government, you need to make a law for this, and you need to make a law for HVAC or plumbing or electrical, and put more burdens on these professions, and then people don't want to do it. It's very terrible.
All right, guys, we're going to be right back after these words. I got to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with the closing here on this episode with Chris joining the show once again. So we'll be right back after these words, guys. Don't go anywhere. Hey, guys, this episode today is brought to you by Spotify Advertisement. All right, what is Spotify Advertisement? Well, it's a brand new platform with their service for entrepreneurs, podcasters, just about everything. Look no further to Spotify Advertising. Okay, they have a load of different types of options for your type of business. Like I said, whether you're a podcaster, a music producer, just about anything. Maybe you're into the gaming industry, right? Look into Spotify Advertising to get your brand, your content, your material out there to be heard through the social network of Spotify. Look no further. Your answers have been solved, guys. Hey, guys, back to the show here. We're going to be closing it out here with Chris joining the show once again here on the show of shows, the Patriot Angle podcast. This is Unfiltered Stir Up Wednesday, our series here on Twitch and YouTube. This is the audio version here on Spotify, Google, and Apple. Here's more on the podcast episode with Chris, guys. Check it out.
Talk about skills and you talk about all this and that. I remember there was a time, when I was growing up in high school, we had programs called vocational school.
Yep.
You don't see that anymore, Chris, or at least I don't see that anywhere.
Right.
I think we need to bring back vocational schools, because it is an option for students not only to get a free, I wouldn't want to call it a secondary education, but it's free. It's funded through the school board and all that, and you're learning a trade, you're learning a skill that you can implement after high school. Whether it's plumbing or roofing or anything for that matter. Let's bring back the vocational schools. I mean, what do you think about that?
I completely agree with that. I think, and a lot of people don't realize when you fix something with your own hands, when you make something, or when you resolve an issue, it also puts pride in you, and it makes you feel, wow, look, I resolved this issue, and you learn something new from it, and it helps you grow, and it helps you learn, and it builds your confidence. Say, wow, look at this. Now if this problem happens again, I'll know to check this issue. And I think a lot of that also is a big self-confident thing. It helps men become more confident and stronger and want to dig into it. I mean, I like getting my hands dirty. I like trying to figure things out, especially in the commercial office maintenance business. You learn something new every day, and it's great to learn something new.
Right.
And when you build your confidence up, you feel a lot more stronger. You feel happier. You just feel energized that, wow, I did this. Don't get me wrong, there are some problems that I want to beat my head on the wall, but eventually I find the solution. But yeah, I mean, I think if you work with vocational schools, work with things with your hand. I always tell someone I've been zapped, flooded on, I've been all kinds of things. I don't want to do it again. I know not to touch this wire, because if I touch that wire, I'm going to get zapped. I know if I don't unscrew that, I won't get flooded on. It's a learning experience.
Well, yeah, I mean, you learn these like little words, usually our grandparents kind of taught them, like you learn how, lefty loosey, righty tighty, right, with the wrench or a screwdriver or whatever. But like what you're talking about, zapped. Obviously, red is red and black is black. You gotta learn your differences.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, everybody would want to know their neutral and positives so they don't get zapped or fry their fan or lights or anything. So,
yeah,
correct.
I hear you. So, I mean, we're basically gonna close it out here with you in a little bit here, Chris. But
All right.
is there anything that you might want to add to tonight's topics here before we kind of do our departure?
I just want to tell the American people, just don't lose hope. Continue praying for wisdom. Continue praying for the leaders to help us become a better country, help us overcome these issues. Let's not fall or fail to these evil desires that are trying to take over our countries. I know we're a great country. I know we're what do you say, fourth quarter and third and 20.
Third and 20 on the 40th yard line, yeah.
Yeah, I know we can do it. I know there's a lot of struggles we're going to go to, and the good thing about struggles is it helps build your characters. You learn and you fight, and you want to continue fighting out of that paper bag or whatever you want to say. So, but yeah, I know we can do it. I know we're a great country. I got faith in the people. I got faith that we're going to do it, become great.
I hear you. I got a comment coming in here on the blog, on the website. I don't know if you'd care to answer this comment, but this is coming out of Roger of, where the hell is he from? Blue Falls, Virginia, saying that, Chris, your comments and concerns and viewpoints on the latest debacle of the Supreme Court Justice nominee. What's your thoughts on that one?
It's sad. I can't believe that people want to judge or get someone just because they sit down to use the bathroom, or just because of their skin color, instead of having someone who really knows the Constitution. Who gives a...
You can say it. Go ahead. It's unfiltered. Go ahead. Be yourself, man.
Who gives a rat's ass if they're black or white or Mr. Octopus or whatever you want to call them? As long as they are decent people, as long as they understand the Constitution, I don't want to judge some. That is the most lucrative thing, to judge someone. Well, let's get a woman in there just because, and let's make her a black woman. It's ridiculous, because we want people who are going to have the best interest in this country and have a good heart for this country. We don't want someone just because they fit this category. And that's the part I get so frustrated about.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I was watching that earlier today on Breitbart, because I pretty much, that's all I follow, man, is Breitbart or either Newsmax or something. I can't take CNN really serious, and I'm starting to lean that way with Fox as well. You know, Breitbart literally streaming that live on their Instagram feed earlier today with Ted Cruz literally slamming the justice nominee, asking about critical race theory. That needs to end in schools, which is definitely
a woman. That's crazy.
Yeah, a woman that we're seeing right now, Chris, that should have never been eligible to begin with. An evil woman with literally evil intentions on her plate. You know what I mean?
Correct. I agree. I completely agree. That's terrible.
Really, really bad. But with that being said, Chris, I want to close it out here, sir. I want to thank you for coming on the show. I always welcome people on the show that I've had like as regulars, because it's always good. You know, sometimes you get insights that change. Sometimes, you know, you get insights that do remain the same, and it's always good to have the regulars back on the show. And a lot of my followers, they look forward to seeing, you know, the regular guests back on the show. You know, it builds a community.
I really appreciate it. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy talking to that and listening to your questions from your readers. We're not going to agree on every single thing, but hey, what friend agrees on every single thing on the planet Earth?
Exactly. Another blog coming in saying, awesome to see Chris back on the show. It has been a hot minute. You're right, Mike. That coming out of Peter from Canada. So, Toronto, Canada. Yeah. Yep. A lot of following coming out of Canada. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. But Chris, I want to thank you for coming on, bud, and you're always welcome, man. You're, not only I consider you a personal friend, but I also consider you a friend of the podcast, man. You know, it's great having you on.
Yeah. Same here. I appreciate your friendship. It's great. It's great to be here. I really enjoy these topics.
Yeah, and we're definitely gonna have to get together, man, and get some drinks, man.
Sounds good.
You know?
Sounds good.
But all right, Chris, thanks very much, bud, and you have a good rest of your day, okay?
Thank you. You as well. Thanks.
All right,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye. All right, guys, we just heard Chris from Marietta, Georgia. It's in the property maintenance department industry of what he does. Seen a lot of changes in his industry with that everything, literally. As you see, man, like I always love bringing the regular guests back on the show. It sets the community here on the show, and I think that's what sets us apart, from every other podcast show, or want to call it. It sets us apart from that. Yes, I'd like to have new guests on the show, but I also know that there is somewhat of stage fright and communication on that, and I get it. If I had to be a solo podcast host with no guests whatsoever, I'm also okay with that. Because I don't normally just talk about politics, as you can see from time to time in the last, probably a couple months now. I've been getting into other topics. I've been getting into, sports and, science and just about everything. Spirituality was one of my big talking points just quite recently. Had, Grace Hung from Lotus Coaching and Healing on my show twice already. Lovely woman from Costa Rica. Love to have her on my show. I'd love to make a series of those episodes, which she would love to do the same thing too. But guys, what are we going to do with the issues that we have in this country? Time can only tell. Time can only tell where the hell we're going to go as a nation. Are we going to rebuild back better according to, Basement Joe? He wants to make this country better. He wants to do this and do that. He thinks that this country was terrible under the leadership of Donald Trump. Okay, let's use that as an example. Look where our country is now. Look where it's going under Basement Joe. Look where it was under Donald Trump. There's a huge fucking comparison. I mean, look at the economy now versus the economy under Donald Trump. Look at our military now versus as it was under Donald Trump. There's a huge comparison between these two administrations, both the current Biden administration and the former Trump administration. Huge comparison. Yes, I will admit that Donald Trump had a big mouth and sometimes it got him in trouble. I will admit that. Okay? I'll admit it. But sometimes having a big mouth gets the job done. I mean, am I right or am I wrong? Right? Bosses, managers, CEOs, everybody in that company likes a person that sometimes has a big fucking mouth and gets the job done versus someone that's just a peon and literally doesn't have a backbone. Because trust me, management does not like people that don't have a backbone. I know that sounds very, very, very silly, but it's true. A manager would rather much have his employee, or her employee for that matter, have a backbone, have a voice. Because they're always looking for suggestions, are they not? They're looking for the next best thing in that company. Maybe something that that they don't know. Maybe there's a suggestion like we're talking about right now. Maybe there's an idea that you might have that they don't know of or they may have not thought of yet. That could be a big benefit, right, to the company. So always have that backbone. Never be afraid of speaking up. Not only in companies, but in society today. Always have that damn backbone. Because sometimes when you don't have the backbone, nothing gets done. So, I'm going to close it out here in about a minute or two. I did want to allow the listeners, Chris here that we've had on the show about like maybe 2 or 3 times in the past. It's been a hot minute since we've had Chris on the show. Always welcome back. I love the man. He's a really good friend of mine, good friend of the podcast, damn good individual, very intelligent, very successful. I mean, what more to say, right? I love to have intelligent individuals on the show. I love to speak whatever we're speaking about. Politics, science, sporting. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because that's what makes the show. Your show is always the best show from your last show, right? Or the last show. I got to rephrase that so people understand me. Your last show is always the best show. Because you're learning from the last show to make the current show that you're doing the best one, right? That's how you improve. That's how you get better. Whether it's a podcast, a talk show, a YouTube channel, maybe you're a streamer on Twitch, wherever you take your avenues, it should be the best, right? That's how you benefit in life. I mean, this show today, we're doing Unfiltered Syrup Wednesday. Folks, this is about everything. Not just about politics, but about everything, about life. That is what my shows here on YouTube and Twitch is all about. Life. Learning from one another to make each other better. Learn from one another. Observe from the next person. Because obviously what we're learning right now in this country, in this society, we're not benefiting for anything right now. We're becoming more dividing. We're being more, what's the words? We're becoming more divided as a nation. There we go. More divided as a nation. We're not learning from one another. We're hating on each other. We're literally causing destruction upon our own species of humanity. I mean, you're seeing more warfare now, more racial divideness, more hatred, more everything in this world today, more than ever. We have the conflict with Russia and Ukraine, right? We have the supply chain issue that's going on right now in the country that Chris and I had just touched just briefly here on the show. I mean, we're having gas prices rising. Sooner or later, people, I mean, what's going to happen when the fucking gas goes under the bridge, right? And there's no more gas to provide cars and trucks, right? Diesel, for that matter, to our tractor trailers, our truckers. What's going to happen when that fucking happens? The country goes to a halt. Goes to a halt. That's that. You don't learn anything from it. So, I say to my listeners as I close it out, let's learn to love each other more. You don't have to be family to love one another. You don't have to be in the same bloodline to love each other. Respect each other more. Show less hate, less aggravation, and we'll be a friendlier society. That's what I think. That's my closing comments on today's show. Unfiltered Stir-Up Wednesday, right? We're stirring it up. Got to stir it up for the listeners, folks. Got to stir it up for the society, the nation today. Because I don't know about you, but I think I'm a little tired of dealing with the same crap that we listen and deal with. Speaking of crap, okay, guys, like I said, I'm going to close it out very, very briefly here on the show, about another minute or two. Was going to close it out 2 minutes ago, but I got into some other things, and that's okay. But I want to make an announcement today, which I will make future announcements on other podcast episodes in the later coming of this week into next week. So you're not only going to hear it tonight, you'll hear it probably most likely tomorrow on our Spotify, Google, and Apple show, as well as our Unfiltered Wild Friday Twitch show and YouTube show on Friday. Guys, we have another book coming out. Yes, I have another book that's in the process of I'm writing it right now, let's just say. I'm in the process of writing my second book that will be coming out this upcoming May, so towards the end of May 25th, 2022, of my next book. Stop with this nonsense of crap. That's my next book, guys. You heard it right on this podcast episode on Twitch and YouTube on Unfiltered Startup Wednesday. Stop with this nonsense of crap. That is the next book that's coming out this upcoming May 25th of 2022, this year, folks. Only exclusively on Amazon or Amazon Kindle. For the folks that do not know what Amazon Kindle is about, it is basically a, it's similar to Audible, their regular Audible app, but you can sign up for the membership through Amazon Kindle. Phenomenal program that they have there over on Amazon. Okay, you can sign up for the Unlimited Book Club, which will give you the book actually for free if you do sign up for it. It's a great benefit. You also get other books that are affiliated with that program, such as mine. And or if you don't, you can buy the book in its entirety. This book, folks, that's coming out in May will be a paperback edition. That's right, guys. A lot of people did like my first book, Can America Survive After Biden, which was only on a Kindle edition, meaning that it was only available online and you would have to download the book, and it was only available on your tablet, laptop, or any other device that you may own. But this next book, a lot of my listeners and followers were requesting a paperback. So the second book, guys, will be a paperback edition. That's right, guys. You can purchase the book, the paperback edition, on Amazon or Amazon Kindle. And you can search us on there, Michael Gardner or the Patriot Angle Podcast, and it'll pop right up there. Or you could search the book title, Stop with This Nonsense of Crap. That's my next book coming out, guys, May 25th. You're going to want to look out for that on Amazon or Amazon Kindle. Really, really good book. Just finished up chapter 2. Can't tell you exactly how many chapters are going to be in the book, but I'm telling you right now, a lot of good information like it was in the first book. I'm going to piggyback off of some of it, but there's going to be a lot more new content and material added into this book, guys. You're going to want to check it out. Really, really, really good book. For that being said, guys, I want to close it out. Going to have a show tomorrow on Spotify, Google, and Apple, taking a day off from YouTube and Twitch. We'll be back on the Twitch and YouTube network this upcoming Friday for Unfiltered Wild Friday. Do also want to make an apology, guys. Yesterday, a lot of my listeners and followers were expecting the episode yesterday with Jimmy and I, with our special guests for Tuesday Madness. Guys, I had a unexpected disturbance. I'm okay. Don't worry, I'm okay. There's nothing wrong with me or this and that. Just couldn't make the show, couldn't get the show together. Had other prior engagements I had to get done. So I do apologize that we had to kind of scrap that show yesterday. But we're back, guys. I got everything done, everything in order. So we're back to our regular lineup this week for Startup Wednesday, which we're doing right now. Tomorrow we'll be back on the Spotify, Google, and Apple podcast networks. And this Friday we'll be back on the Twitch and YouTube network for our Unfiltered series of Wild Friday, which I highly suggest you tune into that show. There's going to be some good turnout there. I want to get into some topics that I want to save for that show. With that being said, guys, thank you for tuning in to today's podcast, and we will see you tomorrow night, guys. Take it easy.
You just heard an episode of the Patriot Angle Podcast, an Anchor platform.